Water retention is pretty common in the research space, whether that's exogenous or growth hormone secretagogues. So today we're going to talk about everything that you can do to mitigate water retention. None of this is medical advice, purely educational and research purposes only. This is probably the number one thing researchers freak out about, and the good news is it's not permanent. Basically, if you don't know why water retention is happening, both growth hormone and IGF-1 level signaling actually affect how much sodium you're going to be holding in your kidneys. They work directly on the aldactone system, which is the hormonal cascade that determines how much sodium and how much water you're going to retain. When this system is activated more than normal, the kidneys are going to hold on to more sodium and more water. Wherever sodium goes, water follows. Before I get into some of the optimizations, a key thing to note is this typically diminishes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks in the literature. Some people automatically jump to, okay, I'm just going to cut all sodium out, and that's not the goal. Sodium is not a bad thing, however, it shows up highly in processed foods, and you're not getting enough potassium to balance it out. Typically, you want anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams of potassium a day, and most researchers are getting about 2,000 to 2,500. Some great food sources to look at are potatoes, avocados, bananas, spinach, beans. There's a bunch of them out there. However, they mostly come from whole foods. The main thing to think about, reduce the amount of processed food because that's just very high in sodium, and eat more whole foods so you get a good balance throughout the day. That's tip number one. The second thing is going to be overall hydration levels. A lot of people automatically jump to, I'm holding too much water, I shouldn't be drinking water, but that's the opposite. You have this anti-diuretic hormone that sits right in the kidney, so when water levels are scarce, it's just going to hold on to that water to preserve it. It's kind of like a scarcity mindset, and it's just going to hold on to everything that it has. Daily water intake should be pretty high. For a 180-pound researcher, you want about 90 ounces of water. You can push a little bit above that. And honestly, if you're drinking enough and that's still an issue, that's when I would add in some sort of electrolyte. Ecolyte is out there. You have things like Liquid IV, the sugar-free version. You have LMNT. There's a bunch of decent ones. Another key factor to look at is actually sleep positioning. That's why water retention is most prevalent in the morning. The way people sleep will highly affect where water pools up and where you have the most water retention. If it's something like carpal tunnel, for example, you can put a pillow over your chest and just kind of keep it above heart level. Same thing with pooling in the arms or anything like that. Try to avoid sleeping on your side if that's an issue. I'll go more in depth on the school, but there's a variety of different factors you can consider. And then this one's pretty simple. Overall movement and actually exercising. Consistent weight training is going to put mechanical tension on the muscle and get blood flowing into those areas, and just getting enough steps in throughout the day. Whether that's zone 2 cardio, just hitting 10 to 12,000 steps, all of that's going to help tremendously. There's a whole bunch of other tips which I'll cover on the school community, but those are going to be the biggest movers and the biggest ones you can address immediately. Hope this helps. Like and follow for more.